Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's rendition of Sittin', where we speak with the Summer Jazz Room at Home artist. And this evening, we're very lucky to have Akiko Tsuruga with us, who's tonight's artist. If you stay tuned at 7:30 tonight, you'll hear her and her organ quintet as a part of our Summer Jazz Room at Home series. So thank you for joining us today, Akiko. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of questions, and I guess we can start with you play the B3 organ, right? And you're coming out of this jazz organ tradition, which is a great tradition. So how is it you became interested in the organ? And I have to say, before I start, for the introduction, of course, you can read Akiko's bio. I just want to backtrack a minute. She's played with as a side person with Lou Donaldson, among others, and has come up through the ranks, and now just won the Downbeat poll for Rising Star on organ, the critics poll, and so she is a rising star, and we were very lucky to have her. But the B3 organ, how is it that you sort of became interested in that tradition and then started playing that instrument?
Oh, well, my parents loves organ sound, and they bought a small Yamaha organ when I was 3 years old.
Oh, I see. When you were 3. So wow. So, and what sort of stuff did you play on the organ? What sort of music did you work on when you were a child?
Oh, like American music, like Moon River, or and then including organ tradition music, blues, and then after I was graduated from Osaka Music College, I started to play as a jazz pianist around the Osaka area, and one of the clubs, they had the B3.
One of the clubs had the B3.
And I started to play Hammond B3 organ. The sound is so I love the sound.
Yes.
Yeah, so then.
And are you from Osaka?
Yes. Yeah, Osaka, Japan.
Right. Yes. And so what was your jazz training like on the organ? Were there organ players that you could hear, or in live, or did you listen to recordings?
Both. There are many female organists in Osaka.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
That's great.
And I was watching their playing, and also I was transcribed Jimmy Smith's blues. Right.
Well, that will give you a lot. Yeah. So and you were able to then after you left the university, what did you do then?
I was teaching Yamaha organ. Then I started to play jazz piano around Osaka area.
Right. And when is it that you came to the United States?
2001.
2001. Okay. Right. All right. Did you meet American jazz musicians while you were in Japan?
Yes, many. Actually, I used to play at an after hours club, and which located across to the street from Bruno to Osaka.
Okay.
And, I met many musicians, including like Dr. Ronnie Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Larry Goldings, and Joy DeFrancesco,
Oh, great.
and Grady Tate.
Oh, super.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15 watts.
Uh-huh. And why is it you came to the United States?
You know, friends of mine in Osaka, you know, they, many of them already moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stay in New York and play with great musicians. And
Right.
also, Grady Tate asked me to come to New York.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He helped me to, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, he was quite something, Grady Tate. And then when you got to New York, where did you start to work right away, or were you teaching still, or what happened then?
Well, I went to Showman's on 125th Street
Right.
because of, you know, they have a Hammond B3 organ.
Right.
And you know, when I went there first time, Jerry Weldon played there.
Uh-huh. The saxophonist, Jerry Weldon, is, for those of you that don't know, is a tenor saxophonist who is in Akiko's group, who you will hear in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Great saxophonist. So you met Jerry when you first got to New York.
And Michael Dawn played the organ.
Michael Ladon. Yeah, right.
Yeah, then, you know, they let me play and
Mm-hmm.
introduced to club owner. And I started to go there, you know, quite often.
Right.
One day, you know, Mona, she's a club owner at Showman's. Mona gave me a gig.
Great.
That was, you know, my career started in New York.
Great. That's great. Are there what are the other B3 clubs in the area or even in the country that you know of them? Because of course there used to be an organ circuit, right?
Right.
Where there were certain clubs in different cities, sometimes multiple clubs in one city that had a B3. Of course, it's not a portable instrument. You know, it takes a truck or a big van to carry the thing around,
Right.
and so the clubs would have it, you know, sort of as a permanent fixture, and they would get to be known as an organ club. So, were there other clubs in New York at that time other than Showman's?
One of the clubs in Harlem, which named American Legion, which is 132nd Street.
Mm-hmm.
They have a you know, Hammond organ, A100. And at that time, I think, Smoke, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They had an organ.
Yes. Michael Dawn's organ night just
Oh.
started around that time.
Right.
And I believe Jazz Gallery had one.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I believe Fat Cat.
With an organ, yeah.
Yeah, with the organ, A100.
Yeah, there's right. In Fat Cat, they have all those things covered up in the corners. You don't know what they are, but maybe one of them was an organ.
Right.
Right. Well, that's good. That's right. There are some places to play. What about outside of New York City?
Outside of New York City, you know, I know Chicago, you know, Green Mills,
Mm-hmm.
a very good organ. And actually, Yoshi's in California has good organ. But, well, Seesaws in West Orange, yeah, they had organ.
Right.
But I don't remember any other places.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's not what it used to be, but that's great that some people are carrying on the tradition.
Yeah.
Right. So, So what is it, you know, you look for in your repertoire? You know, there's a certain way of approaching music, kind of with the B3 and then the traditions. You know, talk a little bit about maybe about the music and your kind of a general approach to the music, because there's definitely a concept that
Yeah.
ties everything together here in terms of groove and that sort of blues sensibility.
Yes. Well, you know, during I was playing with Lou Donaldson, I mean, I'm still on his band, but he always said, we have to play for the people. And, you know, swing and we shouldn't play inside the music. And
you say you should play inside?
We should
not.
Play, yeah, should not. You know, we should play for the people.
For the people. Oh, inside, in other words, for the musicians themselves.
And,
right.
And the groove, you know, and Lou always said, we should entertain.
Entertain.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, Grady Tate always talked about how to swing, I mean, swinging. And you know, my mentor, Dr. Lonnie Smith, you know, his beat, it's awesome. You know, sometimes we play, I mean, we practice together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, we share the organ and then we practice together. That's how I learned how to play organ, and I realized it's so comfortable to play, you know, just feel good, you know, groove music.
Right.
And so, and really, yeah, and I love myself to play, you know, grooving music.
Right.
But and you know, I like to play more like you know, with horn player, like tonight, 2 horns, and then make an arrangement.
Right.
That is so much fun.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I directed. I love to write music.
Oh, great. Do you have albums out? You have your own albums, right?
Yes.
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 10, 11.
10. Wow, great.
12, something like.
Super. And you have your own compositions on these albums too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Right. Great. So yeah, well, I mean, the popular aspect, you know, of the sound is a huge part of it. But of course, it's not. The music itself is very sophisticated, and you know, it has that elemental groove aspect to it, and very, you know, the songs that are played are very, you know, melodic and have, you know, are catchy and often bluesy. But of course, there's lots of sophistication in what you're doing. I mean, it's similar to some of the other great popular, not in popular jazz sounds that have come out. I think about Horace Silver. I saw a post today that Joe Farnsworth, the drummer who's going to play with you tonight, posted with a picture of him with Horace Silver. And you think about the sort of the way that Horace's music communicated on so many different levels. It was sophisticated in so many ways and had a complexity, but it didn't relate that complexity. It related a directness and communicated melody and beautiful harmony and, you know, and swing. And your music seems to do the same thing. And the organ, I mean, and that organ tradition does a similar thing in that tradition. Yeah. So yeah, what do you look for in in horn players, you know, and so you know, I mean, it's easy if you meet Jerry Weldon right away. You don't have to look much further for a horn player to play with a, you know, in an organ group. But what do you value in your horn players, so that anyone that wants to get the gig with you has to know what they have to do?
Give me energy.
Energy.
Good vibe.
Right.
And you know, I directly play with the musicians. So
Right.
we play. I mean, we make music together.
Right.
And
Right.
Jerry and you know, Joe, and also of course Charlie and
Joe Magnarelli and Charlie Sigler. Joe is the trumpet player, and Charlie
and the Joe
guitar, and Joe Farnsworth the drummer.
Yeah, no, they give me so much energy, and you know, I always feel like we make music together.
Right.
That is the most fun part of the playing organ with the musicians.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, you know, Jerry, he give me so much energy, and
Right.
you know, make me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 So, what did you do? I want to change the subject a little bit. You know, we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic across the world, a global pandemic, and you know, it's affected our area up in the Northeast. It was affected us earlier on this year. Now we're kind of seeing a little bit of daylight, and we're able to relax some of the isolation in the society. And that's one of the reasons we're able to do the jazz room in this way, without an audience still, but with the musicians together on stage making music together. But musicians have had were isolated for quite a few months, and had to be resourceful, and also you know, do certain things to kind of keep themselves together, you know, during the pandemic, because we couldn't get out to play with others, which really feeds us. So what did you do, you know, to kind of keep yourself together musically? You know, some people are able to practice a lot. You know, some people had a hard time practicing because they're so used to playing with others. What sort of things did you do during the pandemic to help yourself keep yourself together?
Well, you know, actually, luckily I was working all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic.
Oh, right.
So I wanted to do many things, like transcribe other players, and also learn jazz piano book, the jazz theory book, and you know, write music, and you know, but I miss playing with somebody else, you know, some other musicians.
Right.
So, and my husband, Joe McNary, and I decided we should play 1 or 2 tunes every day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And you know, that helps our energy up.
Yes.
But we miss drama.
Yeah. Right.
So then we played it at Smalls, that is, you know, live streaming.
Right.
And we played with Joe. And I thought, wow, drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much
That's
fun.
great. That's great.
That was, you know, also keep my energy up. And then, and after that gig over, I came back home and then started to transcribe more. And you know, after tonight, I don't have anything come out.
Right.
Came out. So I think I was thinking, you know, I'm going to transcribe some other pianists like Herbie Hancock and McCoy Tyner, and also Larry Young.
Larry Young, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, yeah, that great
And
pianist from
Drake.
Newark.
That's
Right.
my another, my yeah, I'm gonna
Right.
start doing today.
Oh, great, great, great. Do you still play piano?
Little bit, yes. Yeah, we have piano. So,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
for the piano, I always play Bach invention.
Uh-huh, right.
That's my thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the Bach is kind of a go-to. That's what I've been practicing over the pandemic on the bass trombone, the Bach cello suites for and they work pretty well on the bass trombone. If I can't do the double stops, but you know the single lines, and
And
that's
yeah, sorry.
no.
Also great things about Bach, that make me feel very calm now.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, it's that Bach's music always, yeah, so great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, it works on so many different levels. It's so well put together, the structure of it, and it's so amazing. But then again, on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, it
That's
also works. Just like some of the jazz we were talking about before, the great jazz has that same quality. Yeah, yeah, right. So, did you and Joe play together? When you talk about playing duet, playing one tune a day, um, before the pandemic, I know you were busy, and I know he was busy too. And so, were there, periods of time? Were you able to play together duet every day, or was it different there?
I mean, before pandemic,
Yeah.
never.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
He always practice his thing.
Right, right. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. No, because I always thought I was always um, very. I thought someone who lived with a organ player would be very lucky because they could say, "Oh, let's try this tune. I just wrote this tune. Let's see what it sounds like." But well, you guys would probably. That's interesting. That's good. Well, that's I'm glad to hear that. How did you and Joe meet?
The gig.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Weldon was the matchmaker.
Ah, Jerry Weldon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Joe came to the gig when I played with Jerry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right, right, right. So what do you have plans for any more material for any more albums after the pandemic subsides and we can get out and get recording and playing again? What sort of plans do you have for the future?
Well, I have been playing with Jeff Hamilton and Graham Dechter. That's it, for the trio, Akiko, Hamilton, Dechter. And we have been releasing 3 albums. And, probably we're going to record another album with them after, when we can play together, now.
Right.
It's very hard to travel to California.
Yeah, no,
yeah. And then also, I'd like to play, record with the band tonight.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, I think, no, it's such a tremendous band. You have such great musicians and, not, well, of course, Jerry and Joe, but then this young guitar player, Charlie Sigler, he's, how did you discover him?
Well, we met on the gig, and he's so good, as and he, it's so comfortable to play with him.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, we started to play together, and his playing is better and better and better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I hear that too. Of course, he's an alumnus of William Patterson University, and but I also used to see him a lot on sessions in New Jersey and hear him play there, and I've seen you know, he always sounded good even when he was a lot younger, but now over the last I guess it's been 6 or 7, 8, I don't know how many years it's been that I've known Charlie, but he's so dedicated. He used to teach at the summer jazz camp at William Patterson, the summer jazz workshop, and we were lucky to have him. And he would he was he's so knowledgeable about the tradition and about the music, and he would be bringing in his, you know, all these CDs or recordings, you know, to play for all the students, and you know, it was all very just perfect stuff for them. And yeah, he's quite a focused and wonderful musician to have. Yeah. And so, yeah, well, it's been wonderful speaking with you.
Oh,
You know, and it's wonderful to have you and Joe and Jerry and Joe Farnsworth and Charlie to be able to play for us. And you know, we hope that you can come back in future years
yes,
to the Summer Jazz Room and play for a live audience. It's to experience the group live is something that's definitely worthwhile. I think the listening audience tonight will get a sense of it, but I think once it's safe to get out again, hopefully people will come out and hear you. So the Downbeat Rising Star, but for us she's a star already. Not rising, but has risen. And thank you, Akiko, for speaking with me and for playing for us tonight.
Yeah, we had a wonderful time, and then, you know, nice talking with you.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned, 7:30 tonight. This is the Thursday night of the week, and WEP presents the Summer Jazz Room at Home with the Akiko Tsuruga Organ Quintet. And tomorrow night, of course, stay tuned for the Steve Teray and Friends group with the Sittin interview at 7, and then the concert at 7:30. Thank you again, Akiko.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.